Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Dozy Place on Government Street in Mid-City. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hanniger, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, and Jordan Kinchin's back in the studio. Andy Gisco with us today. Seminara with us today. First class, second class, no class today. And we invite you to come join us in the Crown Town room here at Doe's Eat Place. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
You know, so the press conference pretty much took up the second hour yesterday. We had a chance to respond a little bit to it, but didn't have a whole lot of time before the end of the show yesterday. So with a chance to digest it, see some of the reaction, maybe go over some of the things that Will Wade said yesterday. What else did you take away from this, if anything, Will Wade's introduction again yesterday?
It's our coach. He's the best one for him. Never should have been run off. It was a miscalculation by our administration to, in this era, to cower to the NCAA. I'll listen to the other side a lot, and sorry, but you know it's he never should have been run off. When you amend his contract to where if you are served allegations, level 1 allegations, you could be fired for a contract. You're basically firing him right there because you know they're coming. We talked about other teams like Self. He had more at Kansas. They were delivered. They stayed with him. Got a lifetime contract. It's not the error. It's just a miscalculation. The LSU football program was not at, that's my opinion, was not at jeopardy because of the LSU basketball program.
A lot of people disagree with that opinion.
And give me evidence to the contrary.
No, I'm not saying
give me
I'm
evidence
one of,
to the contrary.
I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm saying a lot of people disagree with that opinion.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
It's a scare tactic. They didn't like Will Wade. They thought it was embarrassment.
Yeah.
It ran off. So again, who else? LSU's by themselves, by the way, in this era of cowarding to the NCAA.
Yeah.
By themselves.
Yes.
Okay. So that we can agree on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And you can argue against. Okay. So anyway, he might not be the best candidate for this job, but he's the best candidate for LSU. It's hard to win basketball games at LSU. Old rules, new rules, both. It's hard. McMahon, I'm tired of the commentary, but I'm not going to do like you did last year. We'll worry about that, but it left it in shambles. I mean, it's so off. I mean, people don't like Wade. You know, it's an easy, strong-ass offer. It's an easy target. Boom, boom. Have your punchline. Got to live with it. So what? So be it. They're going to win. I'll put LSU minus 180. It's $2. They're going to be in a tournament next year. And that's hard to do. How close were we to a tournament with a guy that a lot of people respect? Well, we're going to see what kind of job, who hires, Matt McMahon. But I know this: our competition in this league doesn't want him in the league. He's going to have us play. We're gonna miss blockouts on opposing missed free throws. We're gonna have troubles getting to offensive sets and getting quality shots out of offensive sets. We're not going to be perfect, okay? But we are going to be playing in relevant games in March every year, and I believe that. And I do believe that with this little stop in Lake Charles for 2 years, and everything was handled the right way, gave them confidence to really be aggressive with the new planning people in the administration that were pro Will Wade, but also to go back and get him because he needed a really, really strong offer to get him out of Raleigh after 1 year. And LSU came strong. I mean, he's got more support now after all this than he did. Now, had he continued and we go into the tournament pretty much every year, winning a game maybe every other year in a tournament, would the support be the same? So in this odd little way, this crazy path that we're taking and mistakes, we can argue that, along the way, decisions, we might be more loaded than ever, more armed to compete more than ever. And so maybe I was wrong where I thought we didn't have anybody that cared about college basketball around here, or the numbers were really small and weren't impactful enough. But I'm confident more than ever that he's got more support to be competitive in this league and nationally than even before he left.
The fans here, the basketball fans here, and they do have to be shown something. They'll support football blindly. I mean, they'll complain about the coach or players or whatever, but they're going to go to the games. They're going to buy their tickets. The same thing for baseball. And now, really, gymnastics has become such a powerhouse. But basketball, men's and women's, they've got to be shown something. They've got to be shown a quality product, a high-level product. They've got to be there's a lot of other things you can do during basketball season other than go to basketball games. You know, the beginning of it is the end of football. The end of it is the beginning of baseball. And in between, you got the holidays and Mardi Gras and hunting season and all these other things.
Every sport minus football has got to show them that you're going to be good to get the following. Every sport, including baseball.
Well, the baseball, no, they will still sell the tickets.
They're so damn good.
Yeah, they will still sell the tickets even when
let
they're
them
down.
let them go on a path like.
Well, if they were down for 4 or 5 years, yeah, they would be.
Yes.
You know, they've dealt with 1 or 2 bad years, but yes, if they went for a long time, yes, they would.
Bad years, like that conference record we just watched no,
not last. Missing the tournament.
Let them do that.
Yeah, no, you're
for
right.
4 years.
You're right.
There is not a sport on that campus, Charlie.
If they did that for 4 years,
so
you have to be shown something. What struck me yesterday, and from the beginning of this. You and me have been through a bunch of hirings and a bunch of firings, and for every hiring and firing we've been around here, there's been 100 rumors, okay? And one of the ones we hear a lot when LSU's trying to get a coach, he really wants to be there. And most of the time, that's just fans trying to talk themselves into something, you know, that, he really wants to be. Look, the circumstances have to be right for a coach to come here, okay? Sometimes they're perfect and sometimes they're a little messy. This guy wanted to be here. Will Wade didn't need to come back to LSU.
He didn't, Charlie.
He didn't. He
He
was in a good spot. A year ago, he could have stayed at McNeese for another year and waited for another job. He could have taken the NC State job. He could have stayed at NC State this year, continued to build that up, and stayed there a long time, or moved on to an even bigger job. There's not a ton that's attractive about this job to somebody else on the outside, okay? The administration hasn't shown a huge amount of support in the past over doing this. The amount of success that has happened here recently, and I'm going to say last 15 years, outside of Will Wade, it's almost none. The fan base kind of has to be pulled along here a little bit. You got to really, really want it. And I wonder – if instead of taking the McNeese job, he had taken a job at a small school in Alabama or Tennessee or Oklahoma, you know, if he'd ended up at Belmont or if he'd ended up at Tennessee Chattanooga or something like that, would he have felt the draw to this place? But for 2 more years in Louisiana, for a guy that calls Louisiana home, he's only lived here for 7 years. You know, it's not where he grew up. It's not where his wife is from. It's not where the rest of his family's from. It's not where he went to college.
Let me interject for a second. His wife is very excited for she and her family to come back. That's not BS.
No, it's not.
No, we like to beat. Stan Love, Baton Rouge. No, very excited to be back.
But it's not because she's from here.
She spent time here.
They like it here. Yeah,
she's very excited.
I'm saying most of the time that is fans talking themselves into. No, he really wanted to be here. He had options. And he could have been very bitter about the way things went down, and LSU could have been very bitter about the way things happened and not going after him. The previous athletic director would not have. If Scott Woodward was still here, Will Wade wouldn't be the coach.
No. No, period.
So this convolution of events that had to happen to get him back here, we talked about how rare it is to get fired at some place and come back there. For him to still harbor the feelings that he does for this place, it's amazing. I mean, it's the longest of long shots.
But here is a constant, but it's got a lot different look. How many of the three, with Roos, Mallett, and Schroyer, how many of those would he have made the switch with just one of the three? Guess what? Don't think so, because they sure made two of the three. Okay, you got his attention. And then the third, where it's we talked about this. Verge would not have to be his direct superior.
Yeah.
Period. Because Verge and Woody were the two-headed monster digging their heels in the ground.
Yeah. And Verge,
when the governor had told him, hey, he's ready to come back, but hire him or there'll be consequences.
And Verge did a nice job yesterday of talking about how they have reconfigured the athletic department.
I'll switch spots with Verge right now.
That you are going to have essentially individual athletic directors for the major sports, for football, baseball, basketball,
Verge gets credit.
And Verge is the overseer of all of it. So, okay, and they've all got one main job: go raise money. Right. He said it exactly. Okay. Don't be in your office. I need you out on the street. I need you out there hustling money. And one of the things besides getting Wade back here that was attractive about Schroyer is his contacts to deep pocket donors in Southwest Louisiana.
I'll say this, though. Let's be fair. Woody was really good about raising money.
He did.
He was really good about raising money.
And the nature of the job changed dramatically from the time Woodward took the job to the time he left. I mean, you had all kinds of so many more financial commitments than you do at the end than you did at the beginning, and you had COVID in the middle of all that just to make things that much harder. So his want, run back an old Les Miles word, his want to be here was not lip service. He backed it up by taking the job, obviously, but if you saw his face on Friday when he got here, now, I just don't know that happens normally. The way this whole thing went down, the longest of long shots to have this all come back together the way it did. Thankfully, but
what's never happened? That South Alabama deal 10 years later. No, this has never happened.
No.
So it is. I mean, we always like to base something. We'll compare it to something historically that's happened. So we're on a common text thread with who is our biggest sports historian contact.
Bruce
Marshall. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. The guy's breaking down whether or not the 1960 final between Kansas and Cincinnati was rigged or not, because he broke down. He got the tape and stuff like that from the NCAA. I mean, he's lost. There's no comp. There's no comp. One time, I know Will said it, the South Alabama coach, he got fired from the school. 10 years later, he was rehired. And that's such small potatoes, and it's a longer time as well. It's not like Bill Snyder going back to where they rehired. Man, we need the old coach back. We need
Snyder left on his own.
But the one thing that's similar, though, those programs a little bit desperate. They're in a desperate state. Mm-hmm. In LSU basketball, ain't no doubt about it.
If there was ever a program that needed a shot of adrenaline, it's LSU men's basketball.
And sometimes things got to get worse before they can get better. They didn't want to make first. They didn't want to make a move on McMahon. After hiring Kiffin and doing all this, no, of course he didn't.
That's the other thing that could have thrown this thing sideways recently as last month.
But I'm going to tell you why Verge, and I think, is the right guy to handle this all right. Because there's a lot of things like he don't care about wearing the black hat. He's worried about winning.
Yeah.
I believe that. I think he can tone that nonsense out. And I think that he can be the right leader for all of this black hat stuff. Man, we worried about our own how many times. And that's where so many. With this, the Citizenships Award, man, go take that somewhere else. This is the SEC. There is no ethics. There are no rules in recruiting, especially now. None. Okay, you had the best quote. I'm tired of following these imaginary rules.
Yeah.
It's a great quote.
The rules only work if everybody follows them.
Yeah, yes.
I'm going to add something on Verge, why I think that this is going to work out long term for him. This restructuring of the athletic department and putting these individuals in charge of the major sports, especially when it comes to fundraising. Verge does not strike me. He hasn't been on the job long enough, but I'm pretty sure as somebody who wants to micromanage every sport, he's going to have his hands around football because that's where everything is. But ceding control over men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, to have other managers do the day-to-day stuff and have a lot of ADs would not. Their egos would get in the way. They're just like, no, I run everything. Verge is astute enough at this landscape to say, listen, if I try to do all of this stuff and something's going to fall short.
I want to clarify though. That's something that Kiffin did make clear in his introductory press conference, though, Charlie, that Verge is hiring him but staying out of his way.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're saying not micromanage other sports, almost insinuating that he will be involved in telling Kiffin what to do.
And I didn't mean it that way.
Okay, yeah, well, that's right, because he had to translate that message to Kiffin for Kiffin to say that. You understand? Kiffin's he's a different bird, especially in front of a microphone. But still, I got to believe that he'll be a sounding board, on Verge. And Verge is a football mind. And Verge is a competitor, too.
Yeah.
Okay? The biggest headache Verge got, we all know. Okay, who gets what? Little General, Johnson, Kiffin, Sheriff. Who gets what?
Right. Yeah. It's just like your kids, who gets what.
Who gets what?
And one quote that he turned around yesterday, Jimmy. What did Verge say 3 weeks ago, a month ago?
We can't all win it all. Oh, he flipped it?
My job is to generate revenue for the whole department and make sure that we're in alignment with the president's office, the board, and everything else so that we can win in every sport. That's the quote.
Verge is aligned a lot more than he was a month ago.
He's got his ear to the ground, that's for sure.
I'll switch with Verge right now. Verge, you're just fine. Verge. With Verge, yes, it's best for Verge. Don't make it personal. No.
You win, you keep the job a long time, man.
Yes,
long time.
Yes.
We're here at Doe's Eat Place in the Crown Town Room on Government Street.
Yes, indeed. Over here for lunch. Don't forget our lunch menu served Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sandwiches like the club, the steak burger, chicken sandwich, hot chicken sandwich. How about those fresh cut fries, too, Charlie?
Love them.
Best in town. You can customize your burger or sandwich with all kinds of different cheeses, bacon, grilled onions, corned garlic, the ranch aioli, the horseradish aioli, barbecue sauce, even chili. We can do it. So, po' boys, seafood po' boys. We got debris roast beef po' boys, meatball po' boys, a real hidden secret over here, or the black and blue steak po' boy. Different salads as well. Plate lunches, enough to feed an army, a small army. Spaghetti and meatball, hamburger steak, fried catfish platter, or the country fried steak. Generous portions, to say the least, over here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show's available on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. New podcast, Handycast on YouTube right now. It's brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026, their 90th year anniversary. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com. Dan Hurley getting a little bit of the business in the aftermath of the buzzer-beaten shot against Duke. We looked at this during, we saw it on Sunday. We saw a little bit more during the break. He's in the official's face. He's got his kind of nose down at him a little bit.
The place is going crazy. It's sort of a head nudge, like, man, how about that kind of deal? I mean, it was He has a good rapport with him. Doesn't matter. But this is not like it was odd. I don't see any other coach doing it. But the Hurleys, what's the biggest thing about them? They act like that there's never been a call that's going their way.
Correct.
Okay. But this is by far the most excited he's ever been. His jacket's going crazy. A couple of guys come a step on two on the court. It's not like Sean Miller when their guy, Sharp is his name, that hit in the first 4 game against NC State. He hits it. That assistant went, 5 steps onto the court, and Miller dressed him down because you can. Do we want to see the games decided like that? No, we don't.
Not that. No.
We don't want to. But they did take a player took a step or two on the court, an assistant took a step or two on it. It's complete chaos. When the guy hits a 31-footer. It's
the Duke radio broadcast, which I listened to, said after he hit the shot. He says, but they're on the court. That should be a technical. Could you imagine? They called a technical on UConn's player for coming 2 steps onto the floor after the guy hits one of the most iconic shots. And the rules are suspended a little bit. Hurley can't go headbutt the guy.
You got to
have a little discretion there. Come on. If he had been teed up for one of his players coming 2 steps on the floor, then we would be screaming at the top of our lungs about that. You have to give him a little bit of leeway in that spot.
We'd rather the what happened.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It's funny that people don't remember as much as the UConn Duke regional final. The Leitner buzzer beater there, down 1 in overtime. They're down 1. They got the ball with 2.3 to go. They keep they talk about the Leitner Kentucky one in the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The length of the court. Okay, and I understand that, but. And these are the same 2 teams.
They are.
Come on, man.
I think the one against UConn for Leitner gets overshadowed by the other one so much that people have kind of forgotten about it. It was
I guess I didn't. I know exactly where I was. I could take it. That was a Saturday regional final and not a Sunday regional final. The UConn, both of them were Saturdays. In the Spectrum was a late game, and I also heard that the play the game. The game in the Spectrum, man, Kentucky hit so many shots. It was like 198 to 96 or something. It was pre-shot clock.
Yeah.
Was it pre-shot clock?
It wasn't pre-shot clock.
Okay,
it was
but it was like 40-second shot clock.
It was the 40-second shot clock. I read the book. Gene Wojciechowski, I believe, wrote The Last Great Game. But it's about those 2 teams built, Pitino taking over Kentucky.
Because Thursday night, I'm at a friend's place uptown New Orleans, and we were watching a Thursday night game in Clemson. Rick Barnes with Dale Davis and Eldon Campbell got UConn beat. And Tate George throws it length of the court to the guy, Burrell, who hits a turnaround jumper from the baseline to put UConn in the regional final. I've also heard a lot of people talk about this is one, man, we had so many great games. It's not. So you had some competitive games. You had so many blowouts. You had a record number, basically a third of the games, exactly a third of the games, because the tournament doesn't start till Thursday night. Okay, so you got 63 games, exactly 21 already a third, including the 3 we're going to play this weekend, are 20 points or more decided by. That's a record. So they have a little bit of both. So, but I was worried about it becoming a little bit too much of the women's tournament, but jeez.
Well, the women's you want to talk about blowouts? The women's tournament, none of the regional finals were single digits.
Well, you talk about the haves and have-nots, really, because you only have so many women's programs that care about winning and that are going to contribute to their player budget.
Yeah, the gap had started to close a little bit pre-NIL. It's just widened again.
It was getting a little bit more competitive.
Because the first times we were looking at this thing, man, it was nothing but chalk. And this time, all of these games were pretty much blowouts. Notre Dame was a 27.5-point underdog to UConn on Sunday.
I don't think UConn's covered.
They didn't cover in the game, but the fact that they were a 27-point favorite in the regional final.
I know. I get that. That's one. I don't think they've covered the whole tournament. And they win about like an average of 35 points a game. Yeah. They win about 40-something at half that one game. I don't think they've covered yet.
They didn't cover against Syracuse. They won about 53. They didn't cover.
I heard.
I mean,
I heard y'all talking yesterday about just how memorable this shot and the company that it's in. The only two that I can think of in my generation, Chris Jenkins for Villanova, winning a national title.
Oh,
without
a
a doubt,
buzzer.
sure.
And then
because that's a Bryce Drew play in the final.
right, and the final makes it different. And honestly, another final that didn't go in was Gordon Hayward's almost make at the buzzer.
Only difference
those are the
between
only
Bryce
memorable ones.
Drew, they were losing against Ole Miss.
were they?
I'm pretty sure they were losing. Jenkins, they would have gone OT. Yeah, so that's part of it too. This shot was.
Were you in the Superdome for Keith Smart?
Come on, Charlie. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. I was there, and that's I will never forget. My dad even saying, Bobby Knight fouled at freshman again. He fouled
did.
freshman.
Derek
Made
Coleman.
sure that was unlimited 1-and-1s at the time, so no double bonus. That has a lot to do with it. And I'm tired of the people talking about, well, he should have held it at that point. Well, you had no problem with the first two passes because UConn is trying to foul immediately.
Yeah.
Okay? Of course, they were instructed to foul a certain guy or two, their first two targets, but Billis was the best, as usual. As usual, he says, Coach K, every practice, at the end of practice, we had break the press practice. And Shire's done it as well. And when you get the ball, the first thing you do is turn and face. Look at the defense to allow yourself to read the defense. The freshman didn't do it. It's part of having a young roster.
Yeah.
If the pass gets through, the game's over because there's two guys down there.
Two guys wide open, and he saw it. Okay, understand, but he never turned and faced. He dribbled. And as far as we were talking yesterday about Caravan, it's all going to be his shot. He finally broke his drought when he hit the one down four. Keep in mind, Cameron Boozer turned that ball over. They get the ball up 4 with just over a minute to go, and that turned into a Caravan 3 to cut it to 1. But it was Cameron Boozer on him, and that's how agile he is now. He knew he couldn't really get it off.
Yeah, he saw him coming.
But to make that read it's not a given.
Especially in that situation.
No.
I'm going to give Dan Hurley some grace on this, and believe me.
No.
If we thought he was wrong, he's an easy target because he's not likable. But in this case, I don't think there's anything there.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. A great team at Legacy Title. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galato, Madeline, Michael Platt, Marion Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chav Reynolds at Legacy Title 296-0060.
Live at Doe's Eat Place, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Andy, how you doing, buddy?
Or perhaps you might call honor of both Duke and North Carolina, two of the biggest blue bloods in NCAA basketball history, tied for, I believe, 6th all-time and the biggest lead blown in a tournament game.
Both blew 19-point leads in their losses to Virginia Commonwealth and UConn. They talk about the obvious. Was it 134-0 before, now 134-1, 15 or higher point halftime leads? Keep in mind that 18 and change, Duke extended that lead to 18 points. Where do you rank it? Any special thoughts on just the strategy and thing? The thing I talk about is one. There's a couple things, and first of all is that with UConn, they were 1 for 17 from 3 and finished the game 4 of their last 5. And the other thing is remember the slip and fall by the Duke guard that the other guard scooped up and went in, got an N1. You had the Cameron Boozer turnover with just over a minute to go up 4. The Caravan broke his drought and hit a 3. And then the obvious turnover at the end. So 3 turnovers in the last 3.5 minutes that turned into 3-point trips for the and I believe, and a couple of threes.
I believe UConn had 2, possibly 3 turnovers in the entire second half, which enabled them to get back and partially account for those droughts that Duke had. A lot has been said. A couple of things. I saw the report earlier today about I would not even call it confrontation, but the incident between Hurley and the ref at the end of the game. And apparently they were saying things to each other. It wasn't anything, significant, but because of all the noise, he had to lean down to be able to hear and have the referee hear him what they were saying at the end of the game. So I could certainly understand in the heat of the moment that nothing was called.
I'm not so sure about that, Andy. I think it was more just the place was complete chaos. I mean, everybody around the country's trying to imagine being there. I mean, I've been in some regional finals, man, and the atmospheres are great. I can only imagine the atmosphere was in D.C., man.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, he just happened to cross paths at the time as he was, congratulating his coaches. But by the way, this was only the third time that these teams had met since 2004 in the NCAA tournament. They actually met in 1964, 91 and 92, or 90 and 91. But the point is, they met in 99, and UConn finally beat Duke in the tournament, wins the national title. They meet again in 2004. I think it was in the Final Four, and UConn beats Duke and goes on the following game to win the national title. And right now, you can get odds of about 5.5 to 1 on UConn winning the title, having done it now for a third time in eliminating Duke from the tournament.
So when did Duke and UConn meet in the Final Four? Besides the Emeka Okafor team that went on to beat Georgia Tech in the final, when Chris Duhon hit the backdoor cover from half court.
Yeah, I think that was 04. They had met in 99. In 99 as well, when I think it was either the semifinal. No, that may have been the year that Duke beat UConn in the finals back in 99. I think it was. That was the only two times that they met since the early 1990s. And I think the first 64 Duke beat UConn when UConn was not on the basketball map. And then in 90, I think it was 90 and 91. I think it was the time when Duke had the first of their back-to-back titles. The first year, I think, was when they lost to UNLV, and the second time was the year later when they finally they won the title after. I think
the regional final in the
Meadowlands
Meadowlands we talk about a lot. With 2.5 seconds to go, or just under 2.5 seconds to go, when Leitner in overtime, down one, hits the shot from the left wing.
So when they beat them the next year, it was in the Sweet 16.
It was in Sweet 16. Okay.
I still say that game you talked about the Spectrum and Kentucky and Leitner, I still say that clock started a little bit too late because, remember, he caught the long pass. That's when the clock's supposed to start. He dribbled once, turned around, and then let the shot go. I found it hard that all that was done in 2.7 seconds.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't have reviews back then.
Advance the ball, without. I wonder why teams don't do that more to try and advance the ball without the clock starting. In that situation.
We see that a lot now and I never understand why the defense doesn't go up there and make it difficult, but you see it so often when in a late game situation, maybe 18 seconds to go, and the inbounding player rolls the ball because there's nobody there, knowing that they can get halfway up the court before the defense shows up and the clock starts. And I don't understand why defense doesn't prevent that so the clock starts sooner and he can't just roll the ball up. And, the other thing that comes to mind about this tournament is the number of coaching mistakes, and we saw it with Shire and what they did at the end of the game. And the thing is, I remember it started on Selection Sunday, if you recall, with the game between Penn and Yale, where Yale did not foul with that lead at the end that allowed the three-pointer to send the game into overtime. And then we saw it by the end of the week in the Santa Clara game against Kentucky, where Santa Clara hits it and doesn't foul the Kentucky player. We've seen so many situations like this that I can't recall this many situations in big, important games in such a short period of time.
There's no doubt. I'm a guy that you have to trust your team. No, the continuation rule that went into effect this year. Now the enforcement of it has been a little inconsistent. There was one game at the end where they fouled him, and the rule is if you don't put the ball on the ground, you got it 1.5 feet, steps, and you put it up, you're getting a continuation call. And they didn't give him the three shots. But anyway, it is. You see, the reason I don't like that is because they rarely, or certainly not frequently enough,
call charges when they're obviously charges. And they call it a block.
Jay Billis did the best job of explaining how they're coached in the break press to look in face when they catch the ball to sort of give them a better chance of reading the defense, and that's what the young freshman did not do in this one. Now Shire, I mean, let's use some blown leads, man, some unbelievable blown leads. Regional Final Four last year, and then the regional final the year before against NC State. It wasn't as late of a lead, but these 3 leads, is it by coincidence, or is this a trait that just a poor bench work by Shire?
Well, he was mentored by Coach K, played and all that. You'd think that, look, sometimes it's the heat of the moment. Who knows?
How do you view the entire tournament? We had more blowouts than ever, more 20-plus point games, 21 of them. That's a record. But we've had our fair share of late game dramatics as well. How do you view this?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of it. That Santa Clara, Kentucky game, for example, reminded me of Bryce Drew in the late '80s and throughout the 1980s and into the '90s when you had so many buzzer beaters, when there was much more parity in college basketball, and there were very few dominant teams that were far and away the best as there are now. And of course, we've talked about it before with the transfer portal and the NIL. But this has been a very entertaining tournament compared to perhaps recent years. Certainly compared to last year when Form, made it for number 1 for the Final Four. And I don't know if I'm still thinking last year was more of an aberration with all 4 number 1s making it. But I still think we're going to start seeing. We've seen the prop with add up the number of the seeds that make the Final Four, and I think this year was like 8.5 or 9.5 in various places, and I think that might continue. But I don't know how soon it'll be where all 4 number 1 seeds make it again. Again, it was just the second time in the 40 years of the tournament that it happened last year.
I think Houston blew out Tennessee. Florida was lucky to get by Texas Tech in that regional final. Duke, I'm trying to remember if they were all blowouts. I mean, these are 3 out of 4 blowouts and 3.5 blowouts. As Duke was on their way as well. How do you see the games on Saturday? Andy, I think the one thing is constant. That these are teams that can win in multiple ways. They are not totally 3-point dependent. Can they win games from 3? Yes, but they can win games a lot of different ways. I think that's what all 4 teams have shown us this year.
No, I see it the same way. Michigan, Arizona figures to be a physical war, and it may come down to which team is able to avoid foul trouble in that game. That sets up to be an outstanding matchup, and of course, those are the 2 number 1 seeds that survived to make it this far. And UConn, Illinois. I mentioned UConn has used, has won the tournament the previous 2 times and eliminated Duke. But Illinois continues, I think, to be a team that doesn't get the kind of recognition that perhaps they have. They've been a very solid team from the very start. Underwood's had an outstanding career at Illinois. I think I read that Illinois has the best record in the Big Ten going back over the last 10 years. Last 6 years, I think it was cumulatively. And I give either of those teams, I want to see how physical that Arizona-Michigan game is. Both teams, the winner of that game could get very worn out, and they only have 48 hours to turn around to face Illinois or a UConn. I still have Illinois alive as a futures play. I did not play the big favorites. The only other one that I actually played that was under 10-1 was Houston, and we saw what Illinois did with them right from the beginning of that game. So I do like Illinois, but I still say Arizona is still. I said at the start of the tournament that Arizona I felt was the best balanced, most complete team with more ways to win, I think, than the other teams, although Michigan a very close second.
Who's your pick?
Well, I originally had St. John's over Michigan before the tournament started. And of course, Michigan, St. John's played well, but that game again came down to the final minute or so as far as Duke being able to make their foul shots and St. John's unable to answer them at the other end. I'm going to go with, I'd like to take Arizona, but Michigan, look how well the Big Ten has done in this tournament. There's something like, I think, 17-5, and that takes out the 2 games that you had Big Ten against Big Ten. I mean, they have been tremendous. I think they're also about 6 or 7 games above 500 against the spread. So I'm going to go with Michigan.
And tell you what, Dusty May, too, for a young coach, is also showing us he's there. He knows how to put together a roster, but he said they pretty smart basketball, too.
Yeah.
Pretty strong bench coach as well. I mean, I see that. And how about that? We talking about, man, Charlie, you got to get this guy from UAB. We weren't saying that last year. Oh, I mean, Mara looks like a beast for UCLA. No. Nobody was saying that last year. So he's got a good eye for kind of seeing guys in the middle of their development and maybe how he can use them as well.
That's what we like about the guy that LSU hired yesterday, right? When he got a guy like Tari Eason, who was, I would say, reasonably highly sought after, but he became a first-round pick.
Will Wade wants to prove that you can go home again and be successful.
Cowboy Willie, yes, indeed. We're glad he's here.
Yeah.
Hell with the rest of them. All right, Andy, thank you. Follow Andy on Twitter at VegasAndy711. VegasAndy711. Thank you, Andy. Good luck to you this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Ford in Waveland, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, and Go Chevrolet West, both in Plaquemine. Our Go Automobile dealership family just growing and growing. Man, the concierge service department I've talked about them a lot. I've used them myself. Super convenient. Certified body shop. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. I don't just talk about the Chevy Tahoe I drive. I got my Chevy Tahoe from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. My buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard, go by and check them out. Go Automobile Dealership Family, all the way from LaPlace, Plaquemine, and Waveland, Mississippi.
Live at Doe's Eat Place, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Kim Mulkey moving quickly, as she promised the other night, to replace Gary Reedus, who's moved on to Rutgers as the head coach there. She's hired Gabe Lazo from Tennessee as one of her assistants, probably lead recruiter in Reedus' spot. Last 2 seasons at Tennessee includes a trip to the Sweet 16. His class last year that he was at the head of was either number 1 or 2 on the recruiting front. Before he was at Tennessee, he was at Mississippi State for 2 seasons. The Bulldogs were a tournament team in the final year that he was there, thought of as one of the top recruiters in America right now. He is coming to LSU. So Kim Mulkey not only put the retirement rumors got a little bit ugly the other night because they're being posted by somebody who claims to cover the LSU program that is likely AI generated and probably doesn't exist. Max, you followed this?
BS LSU.
Yeah, BS. So it's a completely AI generated account, but for some reason he's focused in on her. So if you didn't believe her the other night when she said unequivocally, "I'm not retiring," then believe that she would bring in a lead assistant like this if she was planning on an exit later. No, I don't think so. So
rumors it.
Gabe Lazo on his way.
Fake rumors.
Yeah, fake rumors. Fake rumors. Hour number 2, straight ahead at Doe's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class. I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And return here at Doe's Eat Place, live at lunch. All right, Jimmy, let's see what you think about this one. Yesterday when LSU hired Will Wade, it gives them...
I approve. First class.
I know. a big four of Lane Kiffin, Will Wade, Jay Johnson, and Kim Mulkey.
Jay Johnson's the one that doesn't fit, okay? I'm sorry.
The black hat, okay. I'm talking from an attitude standpoint.
Well, just
a
little different path.
He doesn't have the villain attached to him that the other three do.
I would say that all of them hustle.
Yeah.
All of them have kind of maxed out or gotten close or gotten at least close to maxing out their resources where they've been.
Right. Okay? Right. But that wasn't where I was going with this.
Okay. Well, where are you going, Charlie? Because Johnson just doesn't fit with this. I mean, nobody nationally is really saying, well, and Jay Johnson, because not the character that these other three are.
The most successful, the best four that LSU's ever had. I'm going to give you two other choices. You want to go with one off the board? Joker's Wild? That's fine. I'm going to give you 1986, Bill Arnsparger, Dale Brown, Skip Bertman, Sue Gunner. Now, in that year, in 1986, Arnsparger made the Sugar Bowl. Brown made the Final Four. Bertman made the College World Series. And Gunner made the Elite Eight. That, if you're going to take it across all four of them, is probably the high water mark for LSU.
I can't think. Even this crew's going to have a hard time getting there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
2000.
SEC champion, Elite Eight, women's basketball.
Yeah.
We didn't do that this year.
No.
And
Brown made the Final Four, and Bertman made the College World Series. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. The other one I'd give you is 2000. Saban, Brady, Bertman, and Gunner. Now, Saban, this was his first year, so he wasn't Nick Saban as we know him just yet. Brady made the Sweet 16. Bertman won the national championship. Gunner made the Elite Eight. That was a pretty good year, too.
You talk about years are different because, Brown, there's such a high watermark. We didn't go to the Final Four that more. Brady, it's the only one he went to. There was a lot of lean years in there as well. It's just kind of but those years, individual years, is LSU with this group capable of making a run at it? Making a run, it's still going to be hard. That's hard.
To match those results. And in 86, Bertman wasn't established as the icon that he
Final Four. Odds are against it.
Sure. I mean, it's 350.
Brett Barnes just went to three straight Elite Eights.
Yeah, and couldn't quite.
Tennessee's never been.
Wade's chances of making the Final Four, I would say, are 25%. That high? Over the course of the next 10 years?
I know he would argue with us. And
of course he would.
I
wanted to.
Yes. I mean, I got to see it. I just want a damn program to have a pulse and be relevant.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to happen every year with him.
Yeah.
I mean, getting, just like what Zanardo told us, getting that 8-9 wins one day. But that's one thing to get from 4 or 5 wins to 8-9. To get to that 10-11, bro, that's a different story.
Yeah.
25 might be high. Tennessee hasn't made a Final Four yet.
Tennessee hasn't. Maybe that is high. And look, the league is tougher now than it was when he left. And it's way tougher than it was.
25% is not high.
Okay.
And it's way tougher than it was when he got here the first time.
That's 3-1. No, that's fair odds. Plus 300.
And that's over how long?
10 years.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
No, okay. So individual years aside, is this the best? The four of them.
I know it's the highest priced in relative, not just in inflationary reasons.
Yeah.
In relative to the rest of the country, there's no doubt, and that's what people are wondering. Wait a minute, how could a poor state, be pumping out all this money? But I know this: the national level of excitement, the national level of what we do here, things to talk about. These characters. This crew, not just being characters, but also giving your team. Mulkey gives LSU's best chance of winning women's basketball games, period, ever. Okay? Kiffin, we still got to see, Charlie. in on paper, how can he not be successful?
Is Kiffin Is Kiffin in a better spot now than Saban was in 2000?
Kiffin's never. No, I'm sorry, he has coached at 2 high resource, high expectation programs. Didn't work well.
Right.
Different guy. Not that he's more mature, but he's more seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
He's more complete as a coach, and he had to be humbled to get recircle back. We think he's more prepared to take over a high resource, high expectation program than he was there for a year at Knoxville and at USC. The USC thing, man, things were aligned there. Oh,
yeah,
so USC was rolling there.
He had the number one team in the country, preseason number one. In 2000, LSU out of the top 4 had 3 Hall of Fame coaches. Now it was before Saban had done most of his winning, and Bertman was at the end.
Saban's the best of ever been here. That's obvious.
But sure. In 2000, he had 3 Hall of Fame coaches in your top 4. That's pretty
Saban's
good.
work has allowed these 4 coaches to be employed at LSU at the same time.
He laid the basis for it. Yeah, sure.
Yes, he laid the foundation for it.
The,
and look, and also, does Kiffin make the move without Saban's blessing? I don't think so, Charlie.
If Saban had told him to go to Florida, then no. If Saban had said, look, do what you want, I don't know what he'd have picked. But if Saban had said go to Florida, he'd probably went to Florida.
Was it not a tough move?
Yeah.
Was it a move he knew he was going to get beat up
Blasted on, yes.
Blasted on, okay.
Yeah.
He still had a pretty good – he wanted to coach.
He wanted to coach that team, and I don't blame him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And, I don't think he comes without Saban's blessing. I think he asked him to wait till the playoff. If y'all want me, y'all want me.
Second class.
But it's a good conversation, Charlie.
Yeah, it is. That's what I do. I try to bring up something here.
That's what I do. Pat yourself on the back.
The ABS. We got about a week into this automated balls and strikes system. Okay, so how's this working so far? Well, of the disputed calls, the challenge calls, the catchers are getting 64% of them right. When the catcher calls for
how many per game are being challenged?
It's 175 through the first 6 days, I think it is, of it. So I'm not exactly sure how many games. It's 175 challenges through the first week of the Major League Baseball season.
We're talking about roughly 140 pitches per game.
I know that there was 5 in the Yankees game yesterday, and I think that was the highest so far for a single game. Okay. So it's in that area. It's a couple of games.
Still a small percentage.
Yeah. So the catchers are getting 64% of them right. The hitters are only getting 42% of them right. And the pitchers have only challenged 5 pitches so far.
Well, catchers are going to get a higher percentage than the pitchers. There's no doubt. The hitters or the pitchers.
Well,
both of those are involved, and they are biased.
I think that's the interesting thing is the pitchers are hardly challenging anything. The catchers have challenged.
No, they do because they don't want to waste it.
Yeah,
on the pitchers.
The catchers have challenged 92. The pitchers have challenged 5.
There was a pitcher yesterday who challenged it. You could see the catcher was upset because he was like, "You wasted. That was not a strike."
Right. So everybody understands that the pitcher is emotionally involved more than the catcher. But they both have similar type of thing. Maybe the catcher even more, but he's unbiased. So that percentage is going to be – you take the Sean Payton element out of it.
Yeah.
The impulsive stuff. So, but the other thing is beating up all the umpires. Bro, go sit behind the plate, the catcher, knowing you might take a foul tip off the throat or something, and calling balls and strikes. And understand that maybe the older umpires a little bit more. It's tough to do. It is tough to do. And when you're watching, guess what? The home plate umpire doesn't have that little box he's looking at too.
No.
Okay. So it's just trying to correct it. And I think it's very ironic that we're in the same period, same days that the NFL is lining up replacement refs. Because technology and the human element has to work hand in hand. You cannot, but to try and keep the flow of the game, the challenge system is close to tennis. It is 10 seconds, boom, that's it, and let's move on. Nobody's feelings hurt. No umpire, home plate umpire with an attitude. Let's move on and we corrected it. Move on.
Most of these overturns have been by less than an inch. There's been a couple of them that were outside of an inch, and maybe one of them that was outside of 2 inches. So they're not missing these calls by a foot. Like, it was a foot outside. No, they're not missing them.
You watch the tennis replay?
Yes, the Hawkeye is wonderful.
It's there.
I got a love-hate relationship with replay because I think it disrupts, especially at the end of college basketball games. Completely disrupts the flow of the game at times.
There's never been a tennis match where I thought it was disrupted.
And I
know what disrupts
either.
it? When they're arguing with the chair over and over and extending.
This has been fine. The flow of the game, this has been fine.
Charlie, this prevents the same thing. The guy clearly was outside, and Bryce Harper's just killing the home plate umpire. Oh, well, then his manager comes out to save Harper, and then it goes on and on and on and on.
A positive example of this, C.B. Buckner, Red Sox Reds. The Red Sox had burned their challenges, so they couldn't use them when Buckner missed. He missed 20 strikes in the whole game. Thankfully, the Reds had some challenges. They overruled 5 of them for him. So they don't challenge everyone that's outside the zone, but the ones they do, it's helpful. And the Reds crowd was very much into it. It was a huge momentum swing.
Getting into it.
So I didn't see that coming.
Sometimes it can be a little it lacking some action. Sitting at a baseball game. This is giving a crowd something to get into.
So now I get to No Class, and this is ABS related as well. Jimmy, when we see rosters, any sport really, we usually take them with a grain of salt, right? They're cheating an inch. They're cheating 10 pounds, whatever. We really feel like at the combine, they get it right because they measure them in bare feet, and they get an accurate thing. So we find out that the ABS measures from 27% to 53% of your height. That's their strike zone. Everybody got to get measured in bare feet, establish a strike zone. 225 of 430 players got shorter when they measured them.
We know how that goes.
171 players were an inch shorter. 48% of them were 2 inches shorter, and 6 players in Major League Baseball shrunk 3 inches when they went to do this.
It's amazing how football players from the time their eligibility is done to when, especially high school, when they usually get bigger, you usually grow, right?
Yeah.
From you like 18 to 20, 21, and they get shorter once they hit the combine. So
take your shoes off.
Something in the air in Indianapolis, you shrink.
And they're serious about this. If you've got like high hair, they pin your hair down to your scalp when they measure you for this strike zone thing. So it's accurate. The more surprising thing might have been that 45 players got taller.
45 players?
45 players got taller. A couple of them by as much as 2 inches. You wouldn't have thought that they were cheating that way.
I couldn't believe. I'm sitting on the cage. We're watching BP. I could not believe how short Chuck Knobloch was. I could not believe.
5'7",
now, of course,
maybe?
Altuve, we can all tell. He's. I love when him and the shortstop forever.
Correa?
Carlos Correa.
The 6'4", 6'5". Those two back next to each other, waiting in the on-deck circle to start the game next to each other. Look like,
They said that if you're 5'6", like Altuve is, or 5'5", whatever he is, you can't cheat. He goes, all of the 5'10" guys want to be 6 feet.
Oh,
You can cheat there, but if you're 5'6", you can't cheat.
Yes.
You got no shot at it. First Class, Second Class, No Class, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026 down in Southwest Louisiana, supporting our Louisiana farmers, reducing methane emissions, promoting water conservation, and saving you a little bit of money when you go to buy Supreme Rice. Monday at the Outhouse, the Paul-Balled rice is your personal favorite.
I was recovering yesterday, so I didn't cook. I just
got a
slept,
sandwich
so
every other
sorry,
Monday.
But yes.
The
But I love that Paul-Balled rice, man. It is just it's a restaurant quality rice forever. I just couldn't. I said, what am I doing wrong, man? I'm doing everything I am. I'm getting it out the boiler at the time, steamer. Do some steamer, do some cold rinse to kind of fluff it up, firm it up a little bit, get some of that residue off. I found it once I started getting that Paul-Balled rice from Supreme Rice.
More information and great recipes, go to supremerice.com. Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. keeping you from getting a great night's sleep. And let them help you out to reduce that pain, target those problem areas, get you into a stretching exercising program that'll get you loosened up a little bit, maybe into a dry needle, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, or ultrasound therapy. Whatever's going to get you feeling better, that's what they are going to do. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. NFL meetings with the coaches yesterday, and we heard Kellen Moore talking a little bit. So two big situations, I guess, situations you want to talk about. They asked him about Alvin Kamara. They asked him about Chris Olave. Different portions of their career, obviously. A little bit non-committal on Kamara, saying no, that they haven't talked. The deal with ATN, who they signed away from Jacksonville, was structured in a way that would make the cap hit a little bit easier to structure here. But right now the Saints have more money in their running back room than any other team in the NFL for the moment. Is Alvin Kamara going to be on this team in the fall? I think the odds are still yes, but I wouldn't go 100% at this point. He could be moved. He could retire.
Get a later round pick and just play under him. I mean, kind of learn. I mean, Alvin Kamara, if he agrees to do it, is not a bad mentor. Well,
he has indicated in the past, now he may be bluffing, that if he wasn't going to play in New Orleans, that he would just retire. He said that in so many words.
Well, there's more optimism about the teams how they're going to be this year than last year.
Yeah,
at this time,
and it may just be his preference for wanting to stay in the city, or he's made enough money where he could retire.
So what I was going to try and say was that his football IQ is extremely high.
Yep.
You bring in a middle to late round pick, kind of under, behind him, ease him in with Kamara, but you're worried about, having a guy. You're one of the reasons you wanted to bring in Love in was because you would help out, settle and development with Chuck. I mean, Kamara's not a bad guy with a backup who can ease in, who's sort of rushed in. Now, you ultimately, is that the guy who's going to be the feature back? Is he have the ability of, say, a Kamara moving forward after this year, after the season? Maybe not. But, again, the Saints are they're far away from the last piece of the puzzle as far as a running back that early. And and the way Love performed at the Combine with the measurables kind of validated some teams spending a top 10 pick, on a running back, early. So he's expected to go. We'll ultimately see on draft day. But I think just let it play out. I mean, but Kamara is, again, if there was a time to get the hell out of Dodge, it was last year. This year things are improving.
They are.
You feel way better at quarterback this year than last year.
A ton. They've already got to pay for him, so I kind of hope that he sticks around on this roster because he's no longer being asked to be the lead back. And at this stage of his career, asking him to be the lead back is a heck of a haul. He had his lowest production a year ago. You bring ATN in to be the lead back, and you have – when was Kamara at his best? When he was sharing the load with Mark Ingram. Now, he's at a different spot in his career. I get it. He's a lot older. But if you ask him to share the load, I think Kamara becomes a lot more valuable to you. If you could get a pick for him and he was amenable to it, you wanted to move him somewhere, and you wanted to take a running back in the draft, or you like Devin Neal or one of the other guys you got on the roster, I'm okay with that,
You
too.
know who would take him right now, for a mid-late round pick. It's Peyton.
But, yeah.
That.
Denver would be the –
that is – Those two are a very good combination. Yes, he's not in his prime, but he's a lot better than a lot of guys that Denver has right now.
Yeah, if he's in a shared role,
he has to be at this point. As far as a team that's a contender.
Yeah,
even with the Saints, Etienne's going to get more touches than him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what they're paying him for, and
right.
That's what his role is. The other part comes with Chris Olave, who they are at least talking about an extension with. What did we say last year? I was concerned about his durability. Everybody was, the concussions, and that remains an issue.
Yes.
Although he played 16 games last year. He caught 100 balls, 1,100 yards. So 3 of the 4 years he's been in the league.
Contract
he's basically played the entire.
I'm a little skeptical there, though.
Well,
and I said that from game one.
Well, this year might be the contract year too, because he doesn't have an extension yet. He could play out the option. Jackson Smith and Jigba reset the wide receiver market 4 years, $168 million. He's not going to get that. Last month, Garrett Wilson, 4 years, $130 million. I think that's a lot closer to what Olave would come in at. But you got 9 receivers in the NFL that have an average salary of $30 million or more. Is Chris Olave a $30 million a year receiver?
I'd be skeptical of that. I mean, it's again, when you spending that kind of money, it's almost like my same philosophy, Charlie. Is he the last piece of the puzzle? I just think you've got other areas of need besides receiver. Shuck needs a guy though. You got to surround him around something. So that's a hard deal, and I'm leery of those guys who get healthy when it's close to contract year.
You could you could let it play out this year if you wanted to on the 5th-year option. But a year from now, he's only going to be more expensive if you decide to re-sign him then. So this is really the contract year. Last year was just about the 1-year extension. This is the year where he gets the long-term extension. And I feel a little bit differently about the receivers than I do the running backs. I think you get a lot more shelf life for the receivers.
16 games, close to 16 games, 1 year, right?
3 years out of 4.
3 out of 4?
He's played at least 15 games, 3 years out of 4. So the 1 year, and it was with the concussions. That's the scariest thing because you can't rehab it.
That seems maybe because we played so many irrelevant games
that we forgot.
Because I would have been wrong guessing that he's played 15 or more games 3 out of 4 years.
Yeah, I would be tempted to get a deal done now. I can't put him at the Smith and Jigba or what we think Puka Nacua is going to sign for probably before the start of training camp, but I can get him down around the Garrett Wilson number. I don't have a better option at this point. Now they could take a receiver in the top 10 at number 8. There'll be at least 1, maybe 2 there, but they've got other needs. So tough. I think it's tougher calls now.
It is a tough call.
It's tougher calls now because you're inching back towards contending. I think the Saints are going to be a contender in the NFC South this year. I don't necessarily think they're going to be a contender to
make a run
advance.
At playoffs. Yeah, that's fair.
But I think
that's
they're
fair.
a contender in that
contender
in
the South, not necessarily to make a
make a
run.
These decisions make for some longer term ramifications. Anyway, that was Kellen Moore yesterday at the meetings. No voting on Tush Pushy.
Dallas Renegades are in contention in the South this year. So
there's 7 other divisions worth of teams that are begging for relegation to the NFC South.
You know who's coaching the Renegades, right, Jimmy?
What's that?
Oh, I know. I know that.
Yeah, Neuheisel.
Mm-hmm. It was Stoops for a long time, but Rick Neuheisel took over. They won their first game quite easily.
The biggest route of the game, best offensive showing.
Formerly Arlington Renegades, now the Dallas Renegades. That's my team in the XFL. If you can't
have
tell.
a team
UFL.
In the UFL?
You have a team? They play in the Rangers' old ballpark. Or they did. Now they're in some minor league soccer stadium.
No,
you got a girlfriend in Dallas we don't know about?
Stadiums.
Right, but last year it was at old Globe Life Field.
You spending all this time in Dallas? You got a girlfriend up there we don't know about?
I don't. I've been there once. The last time I was there was the World Series, and I didn't get in the game. So.
You start rooting for the Cowboys, we're going to have a
little bit of a surprise pick for his quarterback. He went Reed instead of the kid who had some. I think it was
Reed from Western Kentucky had set the UFL record in the game 1.
Yeah,
for passing yards.
For like 387. I mean, lit it up. But is Austin Reed?
Austin Reed, Western Kentucky.
And who was the guy that was so expected to be the starter?
He's been there. He's been in the UFL
from San
for a while.
Diego State, that from California area that didn't play high school football.
Yes, you're talking about Luis Perez.
Perez,
yes.
Yeah, so that's
Reed
the one that,
over him.
Yeah, he's had some success
Single
there.
game passing yard record, 376 yards. In the UFL. We're talking UFL today, Charlie.
God bless, I have nothing to add to this conversation. I didn't watch it.
Well, they combined the leagues at least. to try and create. So one thing is those guys want to play. A whole lot of NIL and
they're hungry.
whining and load management. Go home. go back home to your real job. So anyway, don't forget over here, and don't forget our friends at Relief Windows, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. If your homeowners association requires wood windows, like mine did, you got to call Relief Windows and do it right the first time, because if you don't, they're going to rot on you. Get those RLS gelled windows that come with a limited warranty for 20 years, and they just are functional, they last, and they look good. So, man, I've didn't use the Relief Windows with the original construction of my home. One side, about 8 years, and had to replace those. Another couple of years, had to replace the other side. So no problem with these. Do it the right way. Call Relief Windows, or go check out all of our inventory at ReliefWindows.com.
Live at Doe's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go up to New York, talk to Ace Seminero, veteran handicapper, who, when I was out on Friday, put out a little 3-0 on Friday. So good job, Ace. What we looking at tonight, buddy?
Hey, Jimmy, great to be back on with you. I want to give all your listeners an opportunity to get on board with some free pick service. Text the word free picks to 631-805-6165. You can get on board those free picks. You mentioned, 3-0 last Friday was on air with your buddy Charlie. And last Tuesday when we were on, 4-1 last week. I had the Yankees as that first winner, and then Texas, Wichita State, Dayton was the only loser on the free picks for the week. So, text the word free picks. No hassles. You'll get my top-rated free pick texted to your phone every day. 631-805-6165. You're on board getting my top-rated free picks every day. Got a game for you every day, Jimmy. Got a baseball play today. We're going to talk about Crown basketball on Wednesday, NIT Thursday. Get you right through our next conversation, which will be on the show on Friday when we can focus on the Final Four. Got Jacob deGrom pitching for Texas tonight. He was scratched off of his original outing, stiff neck, but he's slated to go today in Baltimore. Camden Yards, beautiful day there, 81 degrees, wind blown out at 16 miles an hour. Why do I bring that up? Zach Eflin pitching for Baltimore. Second worst home run per 9-inning ratio last year. So expect him to give up some fly balls, and with that wind blowing out, you see Jake Berger so far, 2 homers already on the season for the Rangers with 6 RBIs. They added Brandon Nimmo from the Mets, Andrew McCutcheon from the Pirates, all-star, and added Seager into that lineup. Makes it a very, very deep lineup, while Baltimore struggled. They scored barely over 2 runs in only 1 game out of the 4 games so far this year. Alonso 4 for 15 to start, their big signing from the Mets. No home runs so far. Right, so I expect the Rangers and deGrom to get that victory. Go with the better pitcher on the road at a small price of $1.30. Wind blowing out. Texas Rangers minus $1.30 to get you through your baseball day today.
All right, so deGrom at Baltimore. Texas took care of the Orioles last night, trying to do it again. Off to a nice start. Jack Leiter, Vanderbilt product, with a nice start last night. The Crown Tournament, one of these NIT, these subdivision consolation tournaments, but we had a lot of betting opportunities in the NIT games there, no doubt. We're going to have some picks later on in the week for the semifinals as well. But we go to the Crown Tournament. That's on FS1, so everybody will be able to catch it. But doubleheader tonight, Oklahoma, Colorado, and Tulsa, New Mexico. Sooners, 8.5-point favorites over the Buffaloes.
Yeah, actually, tomorrow night, Jimmy, those games will be played tomorrow on April 1st. No April Fool's joke going on here. They're playing for cash. Come on now, $500,000 in cash plus an NIL bonus. Yeah, I mean, this is unheard of. So you talk about teams that are really going to go out to play. You're going to go out 100% ready to play. The way Oklahoma finished at the end of the year, could have been the last team that didn't make it in. They could have easily gotten in, and I think that they were a team that could have did some damage in the NCAAs. Colorado, their best game of the year was probably their last regular season game when they lost by only 3 points to Arizona in a loss. All the other big games that they've played against their better teams in their conference all resulted in huge, huge losses. They're just not a good team defensively anywhere. All the metrics everywhere, from their three-point defense, their percentage on regular defense. They've given up points at a rate of where they're the 289th team in the country. So give me Oklahoma with the way they finished. They got Nigel Pack on their team. You might remember him back from Miami of Florida. Started at Kansas State for a couple of years, went to Miami of Florida, helped them go to the Final Four when they had that three-guard rotation with Jim Larinaga. He's back right now, and since they've gotten into these tournaments, picked up his scoring big time, along with Reed and Davis. Give me the scoring punch of Oklahoma. They score at a high rate right now. I'll lay the 8.5 points for Porter-Moser to just blow away Colorado in that first game tomorrow night at the MGM Grand.
All right, so Oklahoma, we rode them, man, at the end of the season, and then in the conference tournament, Oklahoma and Ole Miss collectively 7-0 ATS against the spread in the SEC tournament in Nashville. And the second half of this one, New Mexico is that's got our guy from Cal San Diego, San Diego, where they gave Michigan all they could handle in that first round game last year. Lobos 3.5-point favorites over Tulsa.
NIT game there at Hinkle Fieldhouse now, no longer at the Garden. It's been at Hinkle Fieldhouse now for the last couple of years, and then they're going to move the championship game over to where the Pacers play. Same thing over with the MGM Grand there with the Crown. First couple of days are going to be at the MGM Grand. They'll move it over to the T-Mobile Center for the semifinals and the championship. But yeah, New Mexico there, 3 big wins against San Jose State, smashed them by 24. Then they get GW on a short turnaround traveling across the country, destroy them by 25. Then they get St. Joe's as well, short turnaround having to travel all the way to the pit. Well, they don't have the confines of just being at home right now, getting everybody into that arena. Different type of a game here. They like to pound it in down low with Tomislav Boljan, 6'9", 250 center. Their all-star scoring guard, Jake Hall, can put it up from anywhere. But I think Tulsa's going to be a team that, battle-tested. Every one of their games have been tough. They had a tough game overtime against Stephen F. Austin, played a nondescript 11-point win against UNLV at home, and then for the 4th time against Wichita State in a back-and-forth game, survived that one by 4 points. Again, we had Wichita State plus the 4.5 last Tuesday in the cover. But I like the way Tulsa's playing right now. I like the way David Green is scoring. He's been picking up his scoring. They got all good scoring numbers everywhere. Number 22 in the country in scoring. Number 34 in field goal percentage. Number 11 in three-point percentage. Number 16 in free throw. They just shoot the ball well. In a game that I believe is going to come down to probably one possession, I'll take that 3.5 points. And again, if I can remind you, callers, Jimmy, free text service, 631-805-6165. There's more games going on besides the ones that we discussed. There's NBA going on right now in the last couple of weeks. Teams trying to position themselves, stay out of that 7-10 matchups, try to secure those first top 6 seeds. And obviously the Final Four on Saturday. Just a great time of the year. So text the words free picks to 631-805-6165. I want to be able to be there and help out all your listeners, Jimmy. See if we can impart some wisdom and some more winners on them. You got 3 winners here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Get you right through Friday's games, then obviously the Final Four. And how about that shot the other day, Jimmy? How'd you react to that shot by Mullins?
Oh man, that was fine. It was kind of non-consequential. I had a spread involved and some other things, so it didn't affect the spread. It was I was fine, just not having it go to overtime. So that was fine with me.
I agree. I had Connecticut plus the 6.5. My clients know that. We swept the weekend on the Elite Eight games. Just a fantastic weekend. And you know what? It was just one of those miracle shots where he caught it in rhythm and he let it go, and it looked like it was good the entire way. And I hate to say it, I'm just not a Duke fan. There's just favoritism of Duke. Oh. It really couldn't happen to a better team. I was happy to see Connecticut advance and really looking forward to the Final Four.
Payback for the Meadowlands with 2.3 seconds in overtime. And UConn and Jim Calhoun's got a 1-point lead over Leitner, and just didn't guard Leitner. Inbound the ball, gave it right back to him. Got him. Yep, much easier shot than maybe he should have got. Almost had the ball, almost had the steal right before that. Got out of, just kind of lost possession there. So people talking about Kentucky Duke because people remember that one more, but that's the payback between these two teams and these two programs. Ace, great job as always. We will talk to you on Friday, man. Good luck to you.
Looking forward to it. Good luck to you as well, Jimmy. Take care, bud.
All right. A Seminara up in New York giving us some complimentary picks. Text him. Free picks, 631-801-6165 if you want to get on his regular service.
We are here at Doe's Eat Place on Government Street in Mid-City. We're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. Your retirement situation is different from anybody else's, so let Phil Fontenot and his staff talk to you, answer your questions. You know, the last thing you want in retirement is any kind of surprises. Let's talk about what your goals are. What are you trying to accomplish? When would you like to retire? What do you expect in retirement? What's your age? What is your income level? That plan is going to be one that you're going to be able to stick with and feel good about. I know it's certainly been the case for us. So you talk about these things, go to coastalcapitaladv.com to set up an appointment. Philip will take care of you personally and set up a plan that works for you and your family. Coastal Capital Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC. Live at lunch from Doe's Eat Place, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Doe's Eat Place on Government Street on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Doe's Eat Place in the Crown Town Room here on Government Street in Mid-City. Going over and join us for lunch, man. One of the little hidden gems here is the meatball po' boy.
The meatballs are outstanding.
Really.
Either a meatball po' boy or meatballs and spaghetti. They're really good.
Lane Kiffin addressing the media after practice today. Hunt will have more on that. Matt will have more on that. But I did get one of the quotes that came through during the first part of the show, so I haven't seen the whole thing yet. But they asked him about Will Wade. He says, I can, let me see. It says, I can relate to some of what he's going through. How fun would it be to listen to a candid conversation between those two about what's happened to them over the course of their respective off seasons? They more alike or more different?
They're a lot different.
In what ways?
Will's way more comfortable talking. He's way more of a regular guy, for lack of a better term. You know, you've been around him. I mean, they're both hard workers. They both, get what they're doing. But Will's much more relatable.
Yeah, I think he's more comfortable talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think
Kiffin's a little uncomfortable in sort of whether it's in front of in a media gathering or a bunch of guys, whatever. He's just not he's just kind of he marches to his own drum a little bit more.
The biggest similarity I see is that the two of them, and easy with the Wade jokes here, but have adapted to the changes in college sports.
Well, Wade embraces them.
Yeah.
Wade embraces them. Kiffin complains a lot. Kiffin complained a lot about him,
but he's good at it. Still worked him, yeah.
But he complained about it. But the thing was that allowed Ole Miss, him embracing it and getting Ole Miss. They never supported crap over there. That group, he got them off their butts, and they got a little money, but he got them off their butts to get start. And so that's why they were so butthurt, too. One, he's good. He brought us some levels of success they hadn't had since Johnny Vaught. But the other was, man, this guy, we gave him everything that he asked us for. So that was part of the venom there.
And the reason I said it easy with the jokes, it's easy to make the joke. Well,
no,
Wade did the changes before they were legal.
Wade embraces it. He knows it. He's got a plan, knowing he was ahead of the curve, yes. And not just because – he got caught paying players when everybody did. No, he embraces this new era of roster building.
And you kind of have to.
If
you don't, you're just going to get left.
Some Hall of Famers just quit. In football and basketball.
More than a few. Yeah, we don't. This is not what we envisioned as our job description.
We haven't blue booked anything in a while. Jimmy, I'll ask you first. What's more likely? LSU basketball makes the tournament or LSU football makes the college football playoff?
Oh, LSU basketball is making a tournament.
Charlie?
I think it's more likely that LSU basketball makes the tournament just because there's a lot more.
I mean,
you're going to get at best probably 4 SEC teams in the football playoff. That's probably top of them. I mean, you might get 5, but more than likely 4.
Yeah, you get 10 in basketball.
You could get.
You can't
10
be in the top half. Wade should be in the top half.
Last year they got 14. So just from a sheer numbers standpoint, it's more likely that you're going to get in the basketball tournament.
It's the highest conference RPI they've ever had in college basketball.
Now,
So
I'll say this: if they both make it, if the basketball team makes the tournament and the football team makes the playoff, I think the football team's maybe got a better shot at making a run. I think Will can put together a roster next year that gets them in the tournament. I don't think they can get
already in the second weekend.
I don't think that they can get to the
Is
Final
that the better
Four
question?
the
More likely
weekend.
on who wins a game in the tournament.
If this works out for Kiffin, if he can take this accumulation of talent and make it work, then they're going to have and they get in the Final 12, they're going to have a chance to make a run.
I think that the even money shot is, will LSU basketball make it to the Sweet 16 or the football team make it to the quarters, Final 8?
Okay.
And I would give the football team the edge there.
I would give them, but yes,
I think
would.
so.
I would
we don't
as
even
well.
know the roster for the basketball team yet.
He's going to have a better.
No doubt.
Guess what? He knows his roster. Trust me. Yeah, he knows his roster.
Yeah, some of those guys for sure. And
you think he hadn't been putting this together and so some of them guys are going to come to NC State? You're going to make him NC State. We're going to pay you 20% more, 30% more, 40%.
Ask the guys
whatever.
at NC State. They'll tell you he quit working on NC State and started working on LSU a month ago. You think Ole Miss was butthurt? There's steam coming out of Raleigh right now, and I get it.
Not close to Ole Miss.
Well, no, football's so much bigger than basketball.
Not close.
Oxford versus Raleigh. What's more important in Raleigh, basketball or football?
I was with the guy from Raleigh, man, season ticket holder this past weekend. They thought he was better coach. They think they got a better coach. Wade's a better coach than Gainey.
Oh, they do.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, no, but he's. I mean, they that was considered a little bit. Even though they slid, it was considered a little bit of a success for NC State to just get into the tournament.
Thanks to
they thought they were building.
Thanks to Doze for being our host today. Tomorrow, where it snows in Gonzales. For Max, for Jimmy, Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.